Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to Taxes Saved, saving tax in 2 minutes. Well, we're going to go over a case study with you that you can find on taxessaved.com. But this is a client not only recognized a substantial tax savings that we'll teach you more about at taxessaved.com, but also a big long-term tax savings. Davis, you want to kind of give the broad overview?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and break the client profile down. So this is a single filer out of the state of Colorado. And you see here, all added up on the tax return, he's got 180 grand of W-2 income. And the big one here is we were able to help him Roth convert $638,000. He no longer has any tax deferred assets left of that burden. So his total income all added up here was $827,000. Tax burden on that 827 of $294,000 at a 35.6% effective tax rate. So what do we do? Right here for an outlay of 30 grand, right? And under section 179, right? We got a $300,000 tax deduction, right? 10 times tax deduction. And so you see here on line 8, now we have a $303,000 tax deduction. So what did this strategy do? Before the strategy, he was paying $294,000 of tax on 827 grand of income. After, and this $300,000 deduction applied, his income's at 508,000 with $164,000 tax burden from a 35.6 to a 19.9% effective tax rate. His ROI on $30,000, he saved $130,000, 433% return on his taxes. This was a good one.
Yeah. Folks, if you want to learn how to save taxes, which we help people do on a weekly basis, go to taxessaved.com. Learn the tax risk road you're on and how you can reroute. Learn the short-term and the long-term tax savings at taxessaved.com.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to Taxes Saved and the Taxes Saved. Oh, sorry. We'll have to redo it. Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to taxessaved.com and saving taxes in 2 minutes. We're going to talk to you about strategies you can find at taxessaved.com, this being one of those cases, and we're excited to bring it to you, and we'll bring it to you right now. Davis, you want to go over the highlights of this case?
Yeah, this is a great one. So here I'll break down the client profile here first. So we have a single filer out of the state of Colorado. So we have the return here on the left, right? So he's making about 180 grand as his W-2 salary as an engineer. And this one's exciting because we're able to help him Roth convert $638,000 and finish off his tax deferred amount to getting it now. All of his money is amassed in a Roth IRA from what we've worked with on his plan. So all of his income added up here from his tax return as $827,000 in change of income with a tax burden of $294,000 he owes before strategy implemented at that 35.6% effective tax rate. So what do we do? Right? For he outlaid 30 grand of his own capital to get a $300,000 deduction under Section 179. You can learn more about this strategy in much greater detail at taxessave.com with our Taxes Save case study of the week. With this $300,000 deduction, as you see here on line 8, what did that do for him? We went from $827,000 of income to $508,000 of income, and it went from a $294,000 tax burden to a $164,000 tax burden. And so his ROI, as you see here, for 30 grand, he saved $130,000 of taxes. And to learn that, I'll pass it back to you, Dad.
Yeah, and took him from a 35.6% effective tax rate down under 20%. And that's just for this particular year alone. If you want to learn more about what you can save on taxes and learn more about the case studies that we teach, go to taxessaved.com. That's taxessaved.com. Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to taxessaved.com. That's taxessaved.com. Sorry.
One.
Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to Saving Taxes in 2 minutes. Go to taxessave.com if you'd like to learn more about this particular case study, both short and long-term tax savings effect. But here's the information we're going to go over with you that is the broad overview of what this tax savings looks like. We want to bring you these tax savings scenarios on a weekly basis so you can find out what the clients just like yourself are doing to save taxes today, tomorrow, and for their heirs. Davis, you want to run through this one?
Yeah, so this week's client profile, we got a single filer out of the state of Colorado. And so all combined here, this income you see on his tax return, we got 180 grand of W-2 income. 638,000 of Roth conversion income. That's the exciting piece of this week's case study. And so all combined, you got added up here, 827,000 of income for this client with a tax burden of $294,000 at a 35.6% effective tax rate. So this is before any strategies implemented. So what do we do to save them the tax? We helped them with $30,000 outlaid under Section 179. You can learn more about this strategy here again at taxessaved.com in much greater detail with the case study of the week. So that 30,000 generated a $300,000 deduction, a 10 times tax deduction, as you see here on line 8. So we were able to take his income from $827,000 of income after this $303,000 deduction to $508,000, taking his tax burden from $294,000 to $164,000, really taking his effective rate from a 35.6% effective tax rate to a 19.9%, under that 20% effective tax rate. So his ROI here in first year tax savings was $130,000 on a $30,000 investment, a 433% return on his investment.
Folks, if you'd like to learn more about this strategy, and not only that, but the long-term tax strategy of no longer having his income or his assets in the tax system, go to taxessaved.com. That's taxessaved.com.